The divisional round gave us some classic games and some of the worst performances we've seen all year. I'm looking at you, Josh Allen and CJ Stroud, but let's not focus on the negative and let's look at the best performance from each skills position during the divisional round of the 2025 to 2026 season. But before the video starts, comment down who you think had the best divisional performance. Let's first talk about the quarterbacks. And compared to the wild card, there wasn't as many great performances to choose from, but one really stuck out to me, and that was Bo Nix. Bo threw for 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and had a rating of 87.1. He went into that game with a lot of people thinking he was going to lose, including myself. I'm now regretting saying the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. So for that reason, I have the Bills winning the Super Bowl. But that's really besides the point. Bo really played this game well, and he is one of the quarterbacks that gets hated on a little more than other quarterbacks, and one of his best attributes this season has been the ability to close out games and be clutch. And that was shown in his beautiful throw to Marvin Mims with under 1 minute left. And we also have to give Bo his flowers because Pat Bryant and Torrey Franklin were also battling injuries in this game. My heart really goes out to Bo and his family along with his Broncos fans because after that performance, it's really sad that we're not going to see him in the AFC Championship game. Whether you want to admit it or not, Bo had a great season, leading his team to the #1 seed in the AFC Championship game. But it's pretty cool that Jarrett Stidham has the chance to be the next Nick Foles and to lead his Broncos team to a Super Bowl. So for that reason, I think I'm just going to have to root for them. It's kind of hard to give an honorable mention, but I'll try. My honorable mention for the divisional round is Sam Darnold. He had 124 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and had a rating of 110.9. He didn't really need to do much when he was on the field because it was just pure domination. In this game, he only threw 17 passes. But I will admit that the Seahawks are looking like the scariest team right now. And we also had Drake May, who had a pretty solid game. He had 179 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he had a rating of 100.7. I did like that he really spread out the ball and got a touchdown to Booty, Diggs, and Douglas. The Texans were kind of in this game for a little longer than I would have liked, and obviously there wasn't great weather conditions, so that might have affected both QB's performances a little bit, but I'll still throw May in here. And finally, I can't make a divisional round video without talking about this Caleb Williams throw. He officially is the clutchest player in the NFL. Both QBs in this game didn't have great games, but this might be the throw of the year. And that moves us onto the running backs. There were better running back performances than there were QB performances, and this man, Kenneth Walker, just went off. Walker had 19 carries for 116 yards, averaging 6.1 yards a carry, having 3 rushing touchdowns, and he caught 3 passes for 29 yards as well. He was really doing a lot for the Seahawks on offense. And with Zach Charbonnet missing the rest of the season with a torn ACL, Walker is going to need to keep coming up big. I've always thought that K9 was ultra talented when he's healthy. And with him being in a 2-back committee this season with Charbonnet, he was kind of getting held back. So it's kind of cool to see him succeed at the end of the year and trickle into the playoffs. And that takes us into the honorable mentions. Kyren Williams also had a fantastic game. Stafford in this game was kind of shut down a little bit, so Kyren was definitely crucial in the red zone in specific. In this game versus the Bears, he had 21 carries for 87 yards, averaging 4.1 yards a carry. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, catching 4 passes for 30 yards as well. It will definitely be interesting to see how it will be used next game versus the Seahawks. But that takes us into the final honorable mention, which is James Cook. I'm just going to touch on him quick because he was looking dominant at first, but kind of slowed down as the game went on. He had 24 carries for 117 yards, averaging 4.9 yards a carry. He had 0 TDs and 1 fumble. He also caught 2 passes for 24 yards. But you kind of know what you get with James Cook. You get a lot of rushing yards, but that also comes with fumbles. But he was still solid, and that 1 turnover wasn't the reason the Bills lost, so I thought I'd still bring him up. And that moves us onto the wide receivers. And with mediocre QB play, it definitely affects the wide receivers, but Marvin Mims still had a pretty solid game. He dropped 8 catches on 93 yards, averaging 11.6 yards a catch, and he also had a receiving touchdown. I already talked about this touchdown, but we all know how clutch it was. In this game, Sutton was basically non-existent, so Mims had to step up and play the wide receiver 1 because the Broncos got the win, so shout out to Marvin Mims. The next honorable mention is Kayshon Boutte. He had 3 catches for 75 yards, averaging 25 yards a catch, and he had a receiving touchdown. His touchdown on 3rd and 5 was so beautiful. That one-handed catch in that weather is crazy. The Patriots might not have the best wide receiver core, but they all are pretty solid, and Booty proved that versus the Texans. And we all know how tough that Texans D was the entire season, being the best graded defense in the NFL, so that just makes it even more impressive. And now over to the tight ends, and the best tight end of the wild card was Dalton Kincaid. He had 6 catches for 83 yards, averaging 13.8 yards a catch and 1 TD. I think we all have to admit this guy's really good when he is healthy, but the key word is when he is. He still is at a pretty young spot in his career, so I expect him to make a big impact in the future. And for this video in specific, I'm going to add a new special category, and that's special teams. And the best special teams is obviously Rashid Shaheed. This kickoff return will definitely have us looking back, and it could be a classic moment. The Seattle crowd was going nuts, and it really sucked the life out of the 49ers in the first play. Trading for him at the deadline was such a smart move by the Seahawks. But that takes us into the last part of the video, which is the defense. And the Seattle Seahawks had the best defensive performance. In this game, they didn't even allow a touchdown to be scored on them, only 6 points. They only allowed Purdy to throw for 140 yards and he had interception, along with forcing 2 fumbles, so they were pretty dominant all night long. The New England Patriots defense also feasted, forcing 5 turnovers. Stroud had 4 interceptions and 1 fumble lost, and those 4 interceptions came in the first half, which tied a playoff record. But despite the turnovers, the Texans came within 5 in the third quarter, so I just could not put them at the number 1 spot. The Denver Broncos also had a good game, forcing 5 turnovers. Josh Allen had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles, along with James Cook's fumble. And finally, the Rams made Caleb throw 3 interceptions, so a lot of the wins from the divisional came from good defensive play. But that will do it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, comment them down below. I want to hear your guys' predictions on who do you think will advance to the Super Bowl, and who will have the best performance of the conference championships. But that will do it for the video. See you guys.